What's good, Denver?
What's good, Denver? How are you? I hope you're doing so good. What's Good, Denver is a weekly celebration of culture and discovery and fun stuff to do for kids, couples, singles, and old-timers in Denver. I'm the same old Ryan Estes with Electric Tom Donahue, Olivia the Palisade Peach Lorienti, and the Tony Gwynn of podcasting, of course, Troy Higgins. Hope you guys are doing great. Today's feature is Local Heroes, so we'll go over all the best events in Denver this week. We'll share highlights from last week. And to follow the show, go to kitcaster.com/Denver, and please subscribe to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Our YouTube game is stepping up. We've got shorts. We're getting after it, and we've got subscribers. So please subscribe to the show. Our sponsor today is Wildcast. Wildcast is a podcast advertising platform for the world's iconic technology brands. If you're in SaaS or B2B, your customers are sophisticated and hard to find. Wildcast makes it easy to connect with them on podcasts, particularly business and technology podcasts, where your favorite customers are already going to find tools and solution for their business. Advertisers go to gowildcast.com for a free audience roadmap. That's gowildcast.com. Once again, gowildcast.com. And thanks to Wildcast for sponsoring the show. As always, our music is by the illustrious Troy Higgins. I'm going to jump right into events because I've got a bunch, and then we're going to do our feature, and then we'll end with the stuff highlights from last week. So let me scroll down to mine. So I want to promote this Saturday, the Hootenany. This is a celebration of owls. Great event for kids. It's at Chatfield. I'm going to read the quick blurb for it. Audubon Nature Center in Chatfield, the Denver Audubon's largest family event of the year and the only owl festival in the Denver metro area. Discover the secret life of owls through live owl demos from nature's educator crafts, activities, and interactive tables for nonprofit partners like Colorado Parks and Wildlife. And I believe this is brought to you by the Division of Wildlife as well. Super cool event. Take the kids, go see the owls. I don't know if you've ever been up close on owls. They have a very aggressive face, but largely they're pretty snuggly. They like to snuggle. They're soft. Very cool. In line with animals and kids, I also want to promote the Reptile Expo, which is coming up in a couple of weeks, but I know that people have to actually get their stuff together and plan for this. But it's October 14th and 15th at the Crown Plaza at the Denver Airport Convention Center. Have you guys ever been to a Reptile Expo?
No.
Or Repticon?
I don't think so.
No.
That sounds legendary.
What's that?
That sounds legendary.
They're amazing. It's so cool. I have a deep desire to have a snake, to own a snake, like a constrictor or something cool. I really like bull snakes, but I need kind of a sleepy one. So I'm thinking I probably won't get a young one. I'll find an older one that wants to go somewhere to retire. Because the thing is snakes, they live a long time, But the Reptile Expo is awesome. They have arachnids. They got centipedes. They got scorpions. They got so many different kinds of snakes. They got these big black snakes that have this iridescent rainbow covering on them, kind of. They look like they're super cool. But yeah, definitely check that out. All right. Also Friday, September 29th at Dazzle is the Ken Walker Sextet. Ken Walker is a premier bass player in Denver, Colorado. He walks like Ron Carter. He composes like Charles Mingus, and he solos like Ken Walker. Definitely check that out. Saturday at the Fillmore, 6 p.m., Babymetal, which I saw that and I was like, dude, I got to get tickets to that.
What is Babymetal?
Oh my God, it's the best. Troy, can you pull up some Babymetal?
Yeah.
I think there's one called Free Candy or something. They are a shred metal band from Japan that is fronted by 3 female pop singers.
Oh, sick.
It is the best thing of all time. It is so incredible. So they're absolutely thrashing, and then they have these schoolgirls. They're dressed as schoolgirls doing dance and singing in harmonies. Is unbelievable. They are so fun, and it actually kind of reminded me of pre-pandemic type stuff because I was doing CrossFit to Babymetal. I got everybody on board, at the CrossFit class that like, let's listen to Babymetal and get after it. And they're like, no, this is terrible. I'm like, no. Give it 2 songs. You'll fall in love. Troy, do you got it pulled up?
2 songs
Yeah.
later.
Can you
they're
hear
like,
that?
This is trash.
Yeah. It's like Extra Candy or something like that. Is there a track?
This one's called Gimme Chocolate.
I don't know if we can actually get it in through here.
Could
I
we
don't know.
retroactively
Troy would have to
insert
like
it?
share his screen or something, but we could throw something in there for us to
Can you hear it right now? No.
No, we can't hear it. I wonder if I played it, if we could hear it in the thing. Let me do it real quick.
I think it would probably be me. who
While
needs to
you
put
look
it.
that up, I've never been to a reptile expo, but it sounds like there are a lot of things that are not reptiles there. Is it just like creepy crawly expo?
Totally.
Okay.
And I also would be remiss. There's also like, those pocket squirrels. The flying squirrels are there.
Sugar gliders.
Sugar gliders. There is like chameleons and some other lizards. There's all kinds of stuff. It's a blast, man. It's really cool. But while we're trying to get the music pulled out, we'll figure out how to put that in here.
Let's see.
Oh, I think I'd have to share my screen with audio. Probably.
Oh, let's do
Let me
that.
see if I could get it going right here.
Yeah, I'm not hearing that in the headphones.
I'm hearing something.
I think it's from the laptop. It's worth it. If it's worth it to hear Babymetal the first time, we'll figure it out.
I think if Troy were to share his screen, it would probably come through Zoom into the mixer.
Let's give it a
Yeah.
shot. Let's see.
We're figuring this out as we go.
Real
We've
time.
never had to listen to Babymetal on stream before.
This should work.
There we go. From the stop. You got to start from the top because they got the epic intros.
72 million plays. That's not too shabby.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
People know about Babymetal.
Nice. This makes me want to get in the middle of the pit.
So I like this 1,000 times more than I thought I would.
So good, right?
Yeah.
So good.
It's actually very cool.
Yeah.
I like it
Dude,
a
that
lot.
show's going to just go hard at the Fillmore.
Did you say that they're Japanese?
They're Japanese, yeah.
It's giving like, I don't know if I can say this word on air, but it's giving like metal meets like Pussy Riot.
Nice.
Like,
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I love it because they have all the angst and aggression of like really thrash metal, but it's nice and balanced out by like this cool pop sensibility. I want to see all my diminished minor sevenths going straight into major chords. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about anyway. Shout out to Babymetal. And we figured out how to bring music into here. That'll be cool. Okay, I'm going to keep it going. So Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the Comedy Works South is Steve Simone. I don't know if you guys know him, but he's wonderful. I like probably what be described as the most dirty comedy known to man. Like if you could get as far onto the spectrum of like crass, vulgar comedy, I think that stuff's hilarious. Steve Simone is a totally wholesome guy. He likes to talk about family. He likes to talk about like his relationships with his dad. I mean, he's a very sweet guy, and I love his comedy too. So definitely go check that out if he's not sold out already. Last one is for our old timers. And I say that with all due respect, but I know old timers aren't going to Babymetal. They probably already seen enough owls. So I got something for you guys. History and Headlines is a walk through Georgetown, Colorado, which is on Sunday at 10 a.m. up in Georgetown. I'm sure they're going to be talking about the storied mining history of that valley, whether it's gold or silver. I mean, they're still mining up there. And of course, they have the gorgeous railroad. Check that out. History and Headlines, Georgetown, Sunday at 10 a.m. Olivia, I'm going to pass it over to you. What do you got for this week?
right on. This is not the order that I planned on going, but since we just talked about Babymetal, I feel inclined to talk about the art crawl at the Clifford Still Museum.
Nice.
never really thought about babies because I don't want them, but I recently had some good friends of mine have a baby, and I'm an aunt now, and I'm thinking a lot more about that experience of being like a young parent. And I found this event at the Clifford Still Museum that is for parents. It's only like 45 minutes long because it's for babies. So they, being reasonable and about their expectations there. But it's basically Clifford Still Museum crawl through. It's only for babies newborn to 14 months and their caregivers. And they're literally going to crawl through the Clifford Still Museum and learn about art. So whether you're a parent who really wants to go see the Clifford Still Museum and you haven't had the chance because your baby's screaming, or you've already decided that your baby is going to be an aesthete and you're going to go teach them about abstract expressionism, you choose. This Saturday, that's September 30th. You can do that at the Clifford Still Museum.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's free entry as well. My next one is the Cowboy exhibition is opening at MCA Denver. And I feel like we've seen, I've heard people call it like the Western trend, but like cowboy imagery is cropping up in a lot of different parts of culture right now. And it's like, it's already iconic, but then it's also really modern, like relevant in a modern way. So the goal of this exhibit is to kind of reframe, challenge, revise the image of the cowboy. And they've got 27 different artists represented, including Asian American artists, Latina artists, and Native artists, talking about the narrative that like being a cowboy is not just white. It's not just a white history. And
Never has been, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we represent it that way. And so this is like really diversifying that image and opening up that conversation, but then also trying to bring like creative imagination to it. So excited about that. I feel like it's culturally relevant, but also really educational. And then this last one is called Black to the Future, the Museum of Boulder. And this is the opening reception for their new exhibit called Proclaiming Colorado's Black History. So this exhibition is helping provide an inclusive understanding of our state's history by talking about the stories of Black Coloradans who have lived here for the past 2 centuries and the contributions they've made. And this opening ceremony is going to be really cool. You can go view the exhibition. There's going to be a lecture by a gentleman named Adam Bradley, who's a scholar, a writer, a critic. And he's worked with the New York Times, the Smithsonian Museum of African American Culture, the Grammy Museum, National Park Service. He's like a really exciting person to hear talk about this subject. And then they're going to close it down with J.J. Brown's Raw Soul Groove Band. So
Nice.
Looking forward to that opening ceremony coming up also this Saturday, the 30th. So if you didn't take your baby to the Clifford Still Museum, maybe you can jump on down to Boulder.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good choices. There's babies, cowboys, and Black history. The babies, too, it just reminded me of like, it seems like you could probably race these babies, too.
Oh, yeah.
If we're like putting babies on the ground to crawl, there's probably got to be a starting line and a finish line.
Absolutely. You can. We're talking about Babymetal
That'd be a good soundtrack.
to racing babies.
Yeah.
Like Japanese pop metal.
Yeah. That's what I would love.
It's all coming together.
I love it. I would also love to hear Cowboys' take on this amazing MCA exhibition. They'd be like, what?
They'd be like,
Yeah.
Like, all
I'm
right.
just doing my job. I don't
Cool, whatever.
They're going to be crawling through there.
Do not bring your babies to the cowboy exhibit. It's not for them. Just kidding. All right, that's all for me. Very art heavy week. What have you got, Tom?
This weekend, I got a couple events. First one is going to be Not Your Average 90s House Party, which happens at Briar Common Brewery. They're going to have all the stuff that you want out of a 90s house party. This is their 7th time doing it, apparently. 7th anniversary bash. They're going to be releasing a new seltzer from their brewery. They got rooftop beer pong, DJ Stonehenge. That's Stonehenj.
Nice.
DJ Stonehenge, throwing it back and taking requests. 90s costume contest. They're going to be doing best individual, best couples, and best groups They got flip cup. They got Jello shots. They got raffles. It's gonna be a good time. That's from 5 to 9 p.m. on Saturday at Briar Common Brewery. Okay. And then after that, we have the cinema at Sunset. They're playing Boys in the Hood. That's
Sweet.
also going to be on
Nice.
Saturday at 6 p.m. So this is the location is just called Grass Area, but it's at 2812 Welton Street, which is like 5 Points, like close to Curtis Park. But it's a great event. It's a BYOCB, bring your own chair and blanket event is what they have on here. But it's a great way to support Black-owned businesses. It says here that the event, the property site is Black-owned, food trucks are all Black-owned, and the event planners are all Black-owned as well. So come watch Boys in the Hood, support Black cinema, Black-owned business, Black-owned everything, because that is super dope. So yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
That sounds super
That
cool.
sounds awesome.
They're gonna have a big projector up in the grass at the grass area. So
Nice.
that sounds pretty cool.
That's
Also,
that's how you know it's a real neighborhood type event, because they're like, the grass area. And then everyone's like, yeah, I got it. I'll be there.
yeah, it's like I
I'll
know
bring my
where that's
chair.
at. Yeah.
They also are like BYOCB, Like,
Yeah, bring your
obviously.
own chair and blanket. Also, it's Boys in the Hood, which is good to watch at any time. Red Rocks this week tonight. Lainey Wilson with support from Flatland Cavalry and Jake Worthington. Wednesday and Thursday, you got Tyler Childers.
Sick.
Tyler Childers. I mean, I don't know all these people all the time, but I do know Big Gigantic, and that's going to be on Friday and Saturday. There's a whole big lineup of different people. Rekno, Bijou, Jason Leach, Memba, Wave Dash, Align. They're doing Rowdy Town. That was the first Red Rock show that I ever went to back in the day. My first year, freshman year at CSU. So we got the Chiba Hut bus to show. Do you guys know
I
what that
have
is?
taken the Chiba Hut bus to show before.
Yeah, so you go meet up at Chiba Hut. They try to get you to buy sandwiches, but really everyone's late, so they're just shoving you onto this usually school bus.
Yeah.
And then you get taken up to Red Rocks, and then they take you back to that same Chiba Hut later on. And it's kind of, it goes without saying, but it's kind of like a no rules bus. As soon as it pulls away, the drinks start flowing. Sorry if I'm blowing up your spot, Chiba Hut, but
I used to
I
work
think
at
it's pretty
Chiba
well
Hut in
known.
college, and we definitely failed to sting. Like, Chiba Hut is not under the radar with their behaviors. And nobody
think they were
thinks
at
that
all.
Chiba Hut's, following any rules.
yeah, exactly. So anyway, Saturday also, they're still doing the Snow Shape Winter Fitness every week on Saturdays at 8 a.m. I'm still not going, but it looks pretty cool. Winter sports fitness classes going on at Red Rock. So get your stair workouts in. Sunday, I wish I was going to be here, but FKJ on the Rocks, 6:30 p.m. That's going to be super sweet.
That's going to be cool.
Also, the next day, Monday, little bonus, Masego. So
Nice.
that they're probably both going to both shows. Like if you know who FKJ is and you know who Masego is,
They're going to
They're
collab
always-
for sure.
yeah, they collab all the time. So if FKJ has Sunday night and Masego has Monday night, they're both going to be at both shows.
Totally.
Yeah.
There's no way that they're
100%
not.
guaranteed.
But the Monday is Masego and Hiatus Coyote. So that sounds
Hiatus
pretty
Coyote is
sweet.
epic.
Shout out Troy.
Yep.
That
Yeah.
sounds dope.
I would love to be there for that.
Troy, you got to come see a Red Rock show. I don't know if you've ever been out to that.
I never
venue,
have.
but
I never have, but I will. Guaranteed.
I know a bunch of my friends are going to FKJ. I'm going to be out of town this weekend, so I'm not going to make it. But I've always wanted to see FKJ live, and Red Rocks would be the place to do it. And then hit Masego and Hiatus Coyote the next day. Also, Maria the Scientist opening that up.
Oh, nice.
It's a stacked weekend this week at Red Rocks.
For
Big
sure.
time. The Tyler Childers shows are going to be absolutely extraordinary too. Tom, you probably heard that song. The big hit was Little Feathered Indians. He's like a singer songwriter, kind of a country country guy. You know this guy?
I'm not a huge fan, but one of the girls who works at K-Caster has been going off. So I've learned a lot in the last week about him.
Really?
He's awesome. His story, his trajectory. I think this ties into kind of what you're saying, like cowboy, country western stuff's kind of having a cultural moment because a lot of these guys, these kind of alt country guys, are just like skyrocketing. This guy went from playing $300 shows at a bar to selling out Red Rocks 2 nights in like 18 months.
And talk about, I mean, if we're looking at like how the movement has kind of also modernized, like new incarnations, like Orville Peck is something else. He's more crooner, but he definitely has taken the like cowboy image and done something completely new with it.
Totally. Yeah, Sturgill Simpson probably started that whole trend too, singing about DMT and psilocybin in country songs. It's great.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's really cool. Particularly, I see it with my kids, where their playlists. I mean, when I was a kid, it was like you chose a camp, and every camp had a music. You know what I mean? So like, are you the Hesher guy? Are you the hip hop guy? Are you the skater guy? Are you the country guy? And definitely there was no cross pollination there. But now kids, I mean, Spotify, everything's singles based and everything's playlist, everything's from an app. They're just like, oh yeah, country is great. And the country artists have to love it, because they have such a big audience now because people are just like ready for a good song. And I think that's what Tyler Childers really proved is that like, man, there's still room for great songwriting, that if you have an undeniable killer song, like it's going to rise to the top, even though there's 200 million songs loaded up to Spotify a day, something like that. Yeah. But a good song will still cut through.
Bajillion songs. Also, yeah, I mean, let me know how everyone feels about the Red Rock schedule thing. I think that it keeps us talking about the newest, hottest stuff around right now because obviously Red Rocks is the venue for that, but keep in mind, there's also other really good venues in Denver. Mission Ballroom is the next big thing, I would say. It might even have more people than Red Rocks. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They're pretty close.
I mean, they've been getting such big shows too, I feel like. And they're very central, which is so much more convenient than Red Rocks.
Yeah, it is. And honestly, I love it inside there. It's like the best acoustics in town. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at Mission this week, Postal Service, Death Cab for Cutie coming through, and Friday Parkway Drive. I don't know who that is, unfortunately. Saturday,
Old metal
Charlotte
band.
DeWitt. I love them. Do you know them, Troy?
They're like an old metal, like kind of hardcore metal band from like the mid to early 2000s.
Nice.
I used to listen
they're
to them.
still selling out Mission, it looks like. So
Nice. You would recognize their song if you heard it. You would know it for sure.
Charlotte DeWitt on Saturday. She's huge right now. Yeah, other really big names on this Mission list. Macklemore, Grizz the week after. So next week, Grizz is doing this tour of Denver venues to shut down his. He's going on a little hiatus for the time being. So he's doing a. God, what's the one that he's doing a Levitt show?
Cool.
So free show at Levitt, and then he's going over to Fillmore, doing a show at like 6:30 p.m. And then he's going to Mission, starting there at 9. So it's like one day, all three
Wowza.
dope venues.
That's cool.
Denver's about to go into a depression.
No
and
Grizz.
then he's going into hiding. Oh yeah, all that stuff sold out instantly.
Yeah.
So everyone just drained their bank accounts into that. But yeah, lots of big names at Mission as well. So don't think that Red Rocks is the only place to see big names in Denver. There's plenty of good spots. Mission, you got Fillmore, Ogden. People are all coming through all those big places. Levitt, Ball Arena. That's like the actual biggest thing.
Yeah.
That's where your like Post Malones and Ed Sheerans and T Swifts are going.
If you got pyrotechnics and you got backup dancers, you'll be at the Ball Arena.
Yeah.
No doubt. But that's it anyway for me.
Cool. Let's run into our feature.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So our feature this week is local heroes. So the four of us all picked out local heroes of people we wanted to give their flowers to. And I'm super stoked about this. So let's start with Troy. Troy's picking out a local hero, and because he is the San Diego Sea Lion, he's going to be largely... Dude, tell me if I'm going overboard with these stupid nicknames.
No, I love it.
Nice pun there. Sea lion, overboard. God, I love it.
Troy, let's start with you, my friend.
Yeah. So the the local hero from San Diego that I chose, I'm just going to refer to him as Derek from Winyl Club. I actually don't know his last name. But essentially, he's this really cool dude who has put together this event slash community. I think he started it about 2 years ago. And basically what it is it's kind of a hangout at the park, different various park locations around San Diego where people get together and there's music. Essentially what it is, it's called Winyl Club. So it's vinyl and wine, and there'll be, different vendors and music, and it's just a really cool kind of community that he's started in San Diego. And it's something that like we don't really have. There isn't like a huge music scene like this in San Diego, and it's kind of a community that he started, and I've been to a couple of them, and it's just really cool. Like it's people get together, families, friends, like people bring their babies, their dogs, and it's just like a really cool place. Every Wednesday, wherever you get off work, you can go hang out and kind of just decompress, hang out, listen to some music, have some wine, and it's just such a cool event. And he started it 2 years ago, literally with an Easy Up and a record player. And I went to one, like one of the first ones, and there was like 20 people there. Now he gets like 300 to 400 people at each one, and it's completely free. He doesn't charge anything. It's just kind of him giving back to the community and creating a place where people can come hang out, listen to music, have a good time, and not stress about everyday activities. So he's my local hero selection. I do need to figure out his last name. I've met him before, but for now we're going to refer to him as Derek from Winyl Club.
I like the air of mystery, though.
Yeah.
Derek.
Yeah, Derek.
Derek.
He's really cool dude, though.
It's the breath at the end.
Derek.
Dude, what an awesome event.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
Super cool.
Yeah, if you're ever in San Diego, check it out.
Yeah, I would love if we had something like that here. I think that is. I also really like the picnic culture of kind of hanging out outside together. That's really nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was imagining a really kind of pinkies up sophisticated event, and I go to this Instagram, and immediately there's a guy with a box of wine just pouring it into his mouth. Good. There's my people.
Yeah, it's what's cool about it too is you get, the diversity and range of people there. Like it's like everyone's there and everyone's hanging out together. Like there'll be babies, and then there'll be just anyone you can think of. It's really cool. And the park rangers actually let it slide, even though technically you're not supposed to have wine or glass at the park. They let it slide just because it's a good thing for the community for sure.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's always cool. Nice, Troy.
Cool. Who wants to share theirs next?
That's you. You go.
Great. Fabulous. So I want to talk about Steph Francis, who is a community leader in Denver. She's done a lot of notable stuff. She's a foster parent. She co-designed a course called Facing Whiteness, which helps white people confront their internalized biases. She's done a lot of different stuff, but the most notable thing she's done in our community is start Prodigy Coffee. So this is place that started in 2015. They have 2 locations now, one in Globeville and one on 40th in Colorado, about 10 minutes from our office in Rhino, which I actually went to this morning. And what this is a nonprofit social enterprise. So they employ what they call apprentices. People enter these apprenticeships. They're generally young adults who are either disconnected or marginalized, have struggled in traditional school and work environments. And it's kind of built on the idea of prodigy. So the idea of a young person who's endowed with exceptional abilities, but the idea that they're already in our community and they just need to be given the right tools in order to be our community's next leaders. And so these apprenticeships teach about exceptional coffee. Fundamentally, I will say the latte I had there, they've won a lot of awards for just quality. And then the tenets of running a community-driven business. So they have programmatic goals like developing professional aptitude, personal growth, and mental health. They are paid in addition to working there. They're paid to take classes, coaching, and therapy. So this is all around wellness, reconnecting these disconnected youth to our community and preparing them by the end of their apprenticeship to go out and not only understand community-based organizations and businesses, but be able to enter the workforce in a way that they probably couldn't have been before. So they have had, in the time that it's been running, 250 completed apprenticeships. 250 youth have gone through, and it's an 85% completion rate, which when you think about the fact that this is a demographic that has struggled to finish school usually in a traditional environment and to keep a job, and that 85% of people who go into this program are able to complete it and come out with skills. It's really incredible. And just the vibe there is awesome. So the one on 40th in Colorado, it's a redone vehicle service station. So you have rows of garage doors on both sides.
Cool.
It's super bright and airy because of that. They're playing cool music. They have really lived their values top to bottom. Like, they have a community meeting space that's free. So it's like, if you're trying to, do work in your community and bring people together, you don't have to, pay to do that there. Yeah. The other reason that I want to celebrate Steph is not only did she create this, which she's stepping down from being executive director after 8 years, and it's still going to sustain itself, right? That's success. Like, this is economically sustaining itself. But she's also spoken a lot about creating a blueprint for other social enterprises, what that looks like and why it's important and why it works. And so there's a really great article that I read in 5280 where I'm going to read a quote from her, if that's all right with y'all. She says, while making a profit is still important, the stakeholder approach suggests that a company's real success, she focused on stakeholder over shareholder. A company's real success and profitability lies in satisfying a variety of stakeholders, not just those who own the company. It's a matter of playing the long game and recognizing that if your company has a positive impact on the world, it's more likely to thrive. So essentially partaking in equity, not just because we're ticking boxes in optics, but because it feeds your community in a lasting way and it makes businesses that work.
It makes money.
Yeah, it makes money.
Yeah.
Like, you want to make money and do the right thing, take care of your people on a deep level. So I actually got pretty emotional being in there today, just so impressed with her. I think all my friends who work in social work really struggle with feeling ineffective. And it seems like she understands the big picture and the little picture in terms of impacting individuals' lives, but also understanding how to make an economic system that is lasting and works.
Yeah.
So shout out Steph Francis. You're doing great stuff for our community, and go to Prodigy, get a torta, get a coffee, hang out.
I'm going to go. I love that. I love the apprenticeship model too.
Yes.
We don't really have that in the States like they do in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
I in Switzerland, if you wanted to become a flower arranger, that's a 3-year process of apprenticeships and learning, looking over the shoulder, being corrected. That's really important, not only because you teach the necessary skills, but a lot of the intangible stuff of creating a professional demeanor and the proper language and the skills that go into it. I mean, here are the closest I can think of is tattoo shops. Mm-hmm. If you want to be a tattoo artist, you're going to sweep the floors for a year. And you're gonna work up slow. And I think that really works well. America seemed to really push this idea of college for everybody in all across the board, which just didn't benefit some people, apprenticeships and skills, particularly around entrepreneurship, is super cool. And if she can do a social forward kind of progressive business model and it makes money, that's how you get people to take notice. Absolutely.
And I think what you're saying is absolutely right. I think that the German system of kind of splitting people up at a young age into an actual direction. If you're not going to college, let's find a placement for you that matches your skills and your aspirations. And I think it gets a reputation for being ruthless, but we're not taking care of anybody in our system. It's making sure that every person has an avenue.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool and important.
And a trade and a craft. I mean, I've always been just an admirer of craftsmanship in general, even more so than art. Fine art sometimes to me, I'll be honest, Clifford Still, I'm yeah, that's cool, but I'm more of if I see I love the Japanese feudal Japanese pottery, where you're looking at a bowl, you're like, God dang, somebody used that for 60 years. That's the stuff that gets me fired up, is like an emphasis on craftsmanship, because it doesn't rely on talent or any kind of story. It's like innate, I love that kind of stuff. So shout out to them. What a cool thing that she's doing. Nice. Tom, you want to go? What do you got? What are you featuring today?
Sure. Yeah. So I went more down like the legend route, like the Colorado legends.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking of anything going on right now, but I went with Buffalo Bill Cody, who is super OG dude from the old Western era. I actually performed in a musical about him and about
Were you Sitting Bull?
One of his performers. No, I was not Chief Sitting Bull. This was my first show. I was more of like an extra. I had a couple speaking parts.
Were you a tree?
I wasn't a main.
John was a tree.
I wasn't a main character in this one. I forget what my guy's name was, but anyway, that was a show called Annie Get Your Gun, about one of his more notable performers. But he's a circus guy, so he would travel with a big old West show. He ran it. It was called the hold on a sec.
Buffalo Bill Wild West show, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
But Rider for the Pony Express at age 15. No, that wasn't it. Anyway, yeah, it was the Wild West show, Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. He served the Union in the Civil War when that was going on. So really, he was through it all. But one of the things that he's really well known for is just like being a pretty good dude. So a lot of these old Western shows would depict like battles between Native Americans and cowboys and stuff in a way that wasn't as fair as Buffalo Bill would do it. Like he would still, have some battles going on where like each side is looking rough or not looking so good, but he would actually employ real Native Americans to play themselves in his show. And he was known for paying them the same wages as he paid white men and women. He would treat them fairly. He would keep the families together on the trips and stuff. And they regarded him as like treating them pretty fairly, which is pretty cool. I mean, I think it would be easy for him to not do that, but he is well known for also on top of that supporting civil rights for Native Americans. He also supported rights for women, not only women within his shows, but just overall. And he was a big proponent of just like treating everybody fairly. So yeah, I mean, although his show might not have been the best depiction of those different groups, he is known for treating people pretty fairly. And I think a person in his position, well, it's true that a lot of other like showmen like that back in the day were not doing that. So yeah, shouts out to Buffalo Bill. He's buried right up there.
Yeah, Lookout Mountain.
On Lookout Mountain, which, well, that building's kind of blocking it, but it's a
it's
nice
right
place.
there.
But it is right there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. His grave has a bunch of quartz crystals on top of it. It's neat. And,
it is nice.
Everybody from that era is obviously kind of like controversial if you look at it from the lens of now.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
But if you say like, okay, he gave, some absolute legendary indigenous people a way to earn a living, but also to celebrate their culture and let them live. Because this is post-Indian Wars. Everyone's been put onto reservations, and he's like, hey man, let's get after it. We can have some battles. We're gonna put on a good show. We're gonna make some money. Black Elk legendarily also was a part of that troupe. When Buffalo Bill took, I think, a couple hundred Native Americans, Lakotas mostly, to Europe and did a big show in Europe. And they were like superstars.
Absolutely.
People were like, oh my gosh.
You're right. I forgot to mention that. So he took his show and they toured Europe and all around overseas, and he brought everybody and paid everybody, and they all became huge celebrities over there for the show.
Totally.
It's really cool.
Super cool. There's a great indigenous take on this. It's an absolutely legendary book called Black Elk Speaks, and he was a Cheyenne shaman from Colorado, but he went over with Buffalo Bill to Europe and actually got like a terrible fever and thought he was going to die, and so like the production left, and they're basically like, well, I don't think Black Elk's going to make it. And I think it was like a German family. Obviously, they couldn't speak the same language, like nursed him back to health. And there's this great account in that book of Black Elk spirit during like a fever dream, traveling all the way back over the ocean, across all the land, and visiting like his mother and saying like, Mom, I'm going to die in this weird place. And she's like, no, you're not. You're going to work your way back. And so like his story, then he gets better and then has to find his way back to his home in Colorado from like God knows Europe on a train or no, trains and boats.
Definitely.
But
He has some good quotes that I found from him too. He in support of not only Native Americans but women's rights and stuff. And for Native Americans, he said that every Indian outbreak that I've ever known has resulted from a broken promise or a broken treaty by the American government.
Yeah.
Damn, son.
That's funny and true. And then for women's rights, he's a big proponent of paying his women performers the same wages as male performers, or even more in some cases, like with Annie Oakley, that's who the play that I was in was about.
Cool.
She was a sharpshooter in his show. But he said, let's see. These fellows who pray about the women taking their places make me laugh. If a woman can do the same work that a man can do, and just as well, she should have the same pay. So like back in the 1800s, he's preaching, and we're still facing these issues today.
It's almost like it's a simple concept.
Yeah, it seems pretty normal.
He nailed it.
Seems pretty right.
Plus, she was really good at shooting. So he's like, hey, we got to keep Annie happy.
Yeah.
He was like, if I don't speak for equality, Annie's going to get me.
Yeah.
She's got the drop on me.
Oh, man.
Oh, nice.
Right. Well, that's it about Buffalo Bill.
Powerful. All right,
Nice.
I got one. I want to do a local shout out to Louis Lees. He, AKA Mestre Biringela, at the Capoeira, what is it? United Capoeira Association of Colorado. I don't know if people know, but Colorado has possibly one of the best capoeira, I don't want to say scene, but like community in America. You know, it's probably Berkeley, and then it's Colorado. For people uninitiated to what capoeira is, if you've been on First Friday down there on Santa Fe and you see all the people in white suits spinning around, kicking at each other and singing songs, that's capoeira. I would say it's probably a mix between breakdancing and like taekwondo. So it's a Brazilian martial arts and dance tradition that comes out of the transatlantic slave trade, really from Brazil. It has roots that go all the way back. UCA has a lineage that goes back to that. So it's this, what's another way I could describe it? Or it's been described as like a fight for people that dance and a dance for people that fight.
Yeah, it's like an improvised, choreographed dance almost. Like,
yeah,
it's really cool to watch.
It's like the funnest thing you can possibly do. I think what it really is it's a process to induce group flow. Like if you understand flow state, which is just like when Michael Jordan's tongue starts hanging out of his mouth, like whatever state of mind he's in, this is a state of group flow where everybody's together in what they call a holda. And it's a round circle, and you're playing instruments, drums, bells, pandero, berimbau, and you're singing. So like you have, when you're in there and you're kind of sparring with the other person, like everybody is singing and chanting and clapping all around you. Mm-hmm. And it puts you into this almost like ecstatic mental, physical place. It's absolutely extraordinary. And on top of that, what's even better about it is the people that do it are awesome. Louis, I believe he's the director, and shout out to Mestre Grillo Preto as well. He also runs the school. But I'm giving Louis Lees his flowers today largely because of his kids program. So I've been training capoeira probably 6 or 7 years, but my kids have been doing it for more than 10. You know, I would drop the kids off and kind of chop it up with Louis, and he's always trying to get me out there. I'm like, nah, man, I'm just a player, man. I don't have time for multiple things, until finally broke me down and got me into it. But it was a great home for my kids to learn movement and to get stronger. And for selfish reasons, I didn't get my kids into Little League when they were kids. You know, I don't know if you've ever sat through a 7-year-old's t-ball game in July, but you literally want to kill yourself. You know what I'm saying? I don't have time for that. It's my whole Sunday. So rather with the kids program, you know, you can give them an opportunity for like 75 minutes of training, 3 days a week. And they learn the basis of what is now called movement culture. There's a whole school launched by Reptile. Perhaps you guys know it. There's like movement centers in Denver. But really what they're doing is a mix of jujitsu and capoeira just slowed down, you know, to really study the poses and postures. Capoeira ended up being an extraordinary base for my kids and their athletic careers. You know, now, you know, my son plays football, he runs track, he does wrestling. My daughter does basketball, plays football, runs track. And they're great athletes, largely because of the physical nature of capoeira and just the balance and really the movement mobility. You know, growing up as I did, kind of a meathead, like lifting weights with bad form and not wanting to do cardio and doing everything half-assed just because I could throw and catch. You know, I wasn't, you could just tell.
Can't move.
Yeah, I could.
Lose your agility doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so like it's taken me now 20 years to try and get it back through movement and yoga and stuff like that, where it's already built into them because of this kids program that Lewis has put together. So not only is he like a cultural like torchbearer, like literally like being a mestre in capoeira is no joke. That means that you have dedicated your life. You've got over 20 years of practice in it. The dude is amazing physically. He's great, but also I think he has a master's in social work. And the way that he decided to express his social work, and Lewis, I'm not putting words in your mouth, was through capoeira and through the exposition and celebration of capoeira culture in a very traditional means. Like he's a stickler, you know, you learn Portuguese while you're there. You learn to sing in Portuguese. You learn all the musical instruments. And so he really uses his position and the school as to be an ambassador to a lot of kids in the community that wouldn't have the opportunity to come train. It's not easy, or it's not cheap training martial arts. You know what I mean? But he's done the best he can to make sure that it's available for everybody. And the kids program really is central to that. If I was to think about it, I know he has a big heart and he wants to do good in community for kids, but I think he's probably just trying to train an army. And there's no better way to get like a really talented capoeirista than to start them when they're 5. So Lewis and the whole school, Grillo, absolutely fantastic. I encourage anybody to go check it out. You know, it is this really very rare situation where, because this is a traditional martial arts school, so it's martial, which means that they have tried and true traditions, and it's conservative in that nature. But also they've done everything they possibly can to really make it an open and safe space for absolutely everybody. And so you get just a slice of everybody with capoeira. And on top of that, you get kind of like, you know, my people, the weirdos, you know, the people that don't fit in traditional sports, the people that don't fit in traditional gyms or whatever. They're looking for something else. So that's the place you can go check them out, ucacolorado.com. Lewis, I love you, buddy. Thank you for what you do. And that's our features for the week.
Sweet.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, Troy. We got a couple of minutes left. Let's run through highlights really quick. Troy, let's start with you, buddy. What was the highlight of your week this week?
Yeah. So I keep plugging vinyl activities and events because they're super cool. So here goes another one that I did on Friday night. I went to a place called Part-Time Lover Hi-Fi Listening Bar, and it's a super cool listening bar. It's actually owned by a company called Consortium Holdings, which is a social and culinary collective that just owns a bunch of different restaurants and bars throughout San Diego. They might be expanding to other cities now too, but all of their places are super, super cool. Like they're known for their crazy architecture and interior design. That's like what they're known for. And Part-Time Lover is super cool. There's actually a record store inside the bar called Folk Art Rare Records. So while you're in there listening to music, you can go in the record store and browse. And it's just super cool place, super good drinks, and yeah, super cool place to hang out on Friday night. One of my favorites, and that was my highlight of the weekend. Every time I go in there, it's always a good time, for sure.
That's cool. They got reel-to-reel players here. I'm looking at this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. It
yeah.
sounds super cool. It sounds super dangerous to have a record store. Like you're feeling it, you're listening, you're getting a little bit drunk, and the next thing you know, you have 10 rare records.
Yeah.
It is. They're all slightly like above market price too, because they know that, you know, people have had a drink or two and they're willing to spend a little more than they usually would. So you got to be very careful in there for sure.
This place looks
They're willing
so
to grab
sick.
something.
The 1 drink to 5 record pipeline.
The drinks there are strong. They're very strong too. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually ended up at a vinyl set on Friday, or it might have been Thursday. I don't know. There was an open decks and some guy brought his full setup, because with the open decks, they usually got like digital, like they got CDJs and stuff over there. But he bought his full setup so that he could do the open decks with his vinyl, and he was killing it. And I ended up texting Ryan while I was there because I wanted to find out the name of that place that you like, Ryan. And he had never heard of it. I was like, how do you not know about this?
Yeah.
It's like, you got to be there.
Cool.
So he's going to check it out. That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, man. I'm really hoping that these hi-fi things it seems like they're popping up now.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds so close to what ESP is.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's the pictures of this on Instagram are ridiculous, man. Holy cow.
Yeah, that group, Consortium Holdings, like every restaurant / bar they have is just like out of control. They're just like, they go over the top with everything.
Cool.
Nice.
The lighting is like perfect. Lamps, cocktails, vinyl records. I'm coming to San Diego.
We're going.
Nice.
What about you, Tom?
I will go with that open decks. It's on South Broadway. It happens every Thursday at the Roxy. They get I think they get like 20 slots worth of availability. I actually got there like 30 minutes after it started and it was all filled up. I didn't even get to play there.
Dang.
But still super cool. They got the upstairs, which is more of like a normal bar type stage area. I don't know if you guys have ever been to the Roxy, but then downstairs it's like a speakeasy lounge where they do a whole nother setup down there to have, you know, double the amount of people getting the chance to spin over there. And it's super fun. Like, people are just trying things out, messing around. For some people, maybe it's the first time they've played in front of everybody, so it's all exciting for a lot of people. And it's just always good vibes over there. People are down to listen to whatever music you want to play. So
that's cool. And they're doing vinyl sets, or?
Well, that guy, him and a guy who went after them, they bought their vinyl stuff.
Cool.
So like setup is like CDJs and Pioneer stuff, but they brought their own like actual
crates.
Vinyl mixing setup. Yeah, they bought their crates, but they bought their decks as well, because you can't just throw vinyls on a CDJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they had to bring all their stuff. They set it all up, and it was great though. So yeah, definitely check that out. Roxy on South Broadway. It's every Thursday at 6, I think. 6 or 6:30.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. Olivia, what you got?
Mine is not a place that you can go. I played D&D for the first time ever, which I feel like has been coming for my entire life. I've always been really curious about it. I've heard a lot of different lore, a lot of different perspectives on it. So it was cool to finally do it. And honestly, I didn't expect it to be so comedy focused. I think it has a lot to do with like the folks I was playing with are just really funny people, but it's just like everybody's character was like hysterical from the jump. The way that people are interacting with each other, the things they're choosing to do. It was just like 2 hours of improv comedy, honestly. So I'm sold. I'm looking forward to doing it again.
That's awesome. Did you build a character?
I did. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. She, I got the vibe that it was going to be a kind of a comedic group. So I did, my character is a Goliath, but she thinks she's a fairy. So she has like body dysmorphia. So it's like, it's a
radical.
It's a constant thing that like she interacts with people and then she like kicks their asses because she's giant, but doesn't know it. So she'll try to like give somebody like a tap on the shoulder and she just like knocks them out. So I'm having a ton of fun with it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a great way to spend a night. What about you?
Cool. No, I gave a shout out to Charlie Tuna and Cut Chemist at Levitt Pavilion last week. I did go to that show. It was really cool. My kids were at homecoming, so I just kind of slipped out, went to Levitt. I just love that place. I mean, it's free. Most of the shows are free. It's so fun. I mean, you just kind of chill and hang out. Everyone's cool. You know, I'm going to security and I had just jean jacket on, and the lady was like, "Is there anything I should check in your jacket?" I was like, "No." She's like, "Cool, have fun." I was like, "This is great security."
Oh, great. Good to know.
What's in your pockets, sir?
Absolutely nothing. Like, okay, sounds good to me. Go ahead. But just great energy, great vibe. Charlie Tuna and Cut Chemist absolutely killed it. It was nice to see. I mean, they look great, but they look 30 pounds overweight, which made me feel a little bit better about myself, So our extra large brothers are out here like doing it, So although they're aging gracefully, they still absolutely just shredded it. It was awesome. The openers, I think, were Stay Tuned, which was I knew a couple of those guys. Main Rock, for one, is a great Denver MC. They came out and brought the B-Boy Factory out, so there's all these kids breakdancing on stage and stuff. It was just
nice.
It was just a really cool, wonderful fall evening in Denver. So that was awesome. Shout out to Andy Thomas and Levitt Pavilion. That place is absolutely amazing. Well, I think that's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. So let's leave it there.
Yes.
I want to give thank yous to our sponsor, GoWildcast.com. Please go check them out and tell them you came from here. If you would like to subscribe to the show, we are on Apple Podcasts, we are on Spotify, and we are on YouTube. So please take a moment, subscribe. If you could, rate and review the show. It greatly helps with what we're trying to do with these algorithms out here in these interwebs. That would be awesome. Anything else from you guys?
That's it.
That's it. Thanks, guys.
Cool. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening. And what's good, Denver? This has been a fun podcast today. Have a good day.
Later.